We're back here on the official Temple University Football Coaches Show, powered by Peerless Boilers. Peerless builds America's best boilers. Homecoming 2015 was a success for the Owls, and this Saturday they look to improve on their undefeated record as they welcome in UCF. That will be a night game at Lincoln Financial Field. 7:30 is kickoff, but you can listen to WHIP for your coverage of Owls up against the UCF Knights as coverage on the station begins at 7 p.m. Now let's go out to Edberg Olson Hall and welcome Chris Wiesehan to the show. Chris, Zach Gelb here. Thanks for a few minutes. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Well, I'm doing great, and we appreciate a few minutes. After the game on Saturday in the big win up against Tulane, Matt Rhule walked into the post-game press conference, and he was not happy with the team's start, and they did put a ball on the turf. That's been a constant theme for you guys. Although you're undefeated on the year, the first quarter always hasn't generated the most success. How does your offensive line get off to a better start early in games?
Well, I just think we just trust the process. You know, it's all about us and all about our mindset and just going out and doing your job. And not only doing your job, but trying to dominate your job. And I think that, we're progressing as a team and looking forward. I think great things are ahead of us.
You have a big leader at the quarterback position in P.J. Walker, who's made a lot of improvements from last year to this year, and he separated his non-throwing shoulder during that Penn State game. And he's a really tough guy. And even in that Tulane game, you saw Tulane talking a little bit after the whistle and doing some pushing and shoving. And your guys never retaliated and got you any negative penalties on those plays. When you have a leader like P.J. Walker, who's just such a tough player, how much more does that motivate your offensive line to protect him? I know that's the key, Coach.
Well, I think that to answer your first portion of that question, I think as our team as a whole, I think our team's a disciplined team. I think it starts from the top and it emulates through our team. But, yeah, having PJ back there, a guy that cares about the guys up front, cares about his teammates, that is loyal to what we do, obviously you're going to have his back, and that's where we feel in the trenches.
You guys have a six-man rotation. You didn't have a lot of depth at that offensive line last year, and you had to rotate people in and out on a different week, and a large part of that was because of injuries. But starting at right guard, according to the depth chart this week, and it was last week as well, as Eric Lofton and Leon Johnson will be at right tackle. What have you noticed so far this year out of Eric Lofton and Leon Johnson?
Well, I think they're a year older, a year more mature. They're invested, and they're working their butts off, and we're going to keep all those competitions that are working every day in practice at its highest level. And we have competition where, iron sharpens iron. And we're going to keep that line and those group of guys fighting for their reps.
Lofton is a player that was right tackle last year, and you made that move to right guard. He's also played some right tackle this year as well, but he's a starting right guard for this team right now. What's the toughest part of that transition from moving a guy from the tackle spot to the guard spot?
Well, I think obviously there's a few more calls on the inside than possibly there are on the outside. But, Eric's done a really nice job actually as a tackle in his pass pro progression. He's so good above the neck, and he's been able to move and move seamlessly, really, in and out, and he can play another guard spot. That really gives us a lot of flexibility. So I really hats off to him as a guy that's really invested in the offseason, learning the offense, mastering his craft. And then, of course, the weight room guys have done a great job with my guys. I mean, I can't say enough about what Coach Scott and B-Dub and all those guys do downstairs to make my guys physical. And obviously I want to tell you, all line coaches think they want to take credit. Really, the toughness, it really comes from our off-season program and what those guys do for our team, not just my line.
If you take it from a technique standpoint, what are some techniques that you really emphasize when you take a look at the right guard spot?
Well, it's not just the right guard spot, it's just globally. I mean, we're talking, and we always emphasize this, stance, first step, and pad level.
Like I said, you guys are still playing a six-man rotation. Brian Carter had that starting spot at the beginning of the year. What does he need to do to improve a little bit? I know he took a penalty in that Tulane game.
Brian just needs to continue to do what he's doing. He's done nothing detrimental. He's had a couple of MAs. And again, it really comes down to just fueling the fire, sharpening the sword, and keeping iron on iron. We want to have the best guys fighting each play every day for a spot, and know that every rep matters and that practice is everything.
It's also easier to teach that mentality when you have guys that buy in, and I think your football team, like you said, is really trusting the process and buying in, and it makes it easier for you, Coach, when you got guys, such good leaders, and a Kyle Friend and Deon Dawkins, right?
Absolutely. Guys gravitate to those guys.
What kind of players are Kyle Friend and Deon Dawkins like? We see them on the field, but what are they like in practice? How do they motivate their teammates to be better?
Well, I think Kyle does it through his. A year ago, I said Kyle just does it through his actions, and now I think that Kyle has really kind of become more of a vocal leader. He's bringing guys along, and not just on the field. I mean in the classroom. And Deon's the same way. Deon's the guy you come around now this year. He's in the classroom. He's studying. You know, we made an investment for a huge virtual video thing, which I'm sure you will learn about. And our kids are there's just so many ways to learn, and so many people learn different ways. And you know, a guy like Deon's a guy that you'll walk in a room and he's in there with some young guys and they're blocking chairs, things like that. So my hat's off to those guys as taking the next step in the process of becoming students of the game off the field.
Chris Wiesehan is our guest on the official Temple University Football Coaches Show, powered by Peerless Boilers. Peerless builds America's best boilers. Visit peerlessboilers.com for a dealer nearest you. In that blowout victory over Tulane, you got a lot of offensive linemen on the field, especially some younger guys that we usually don't see. What younger guys impressed you on Saturday, Coach?
Well, you know, right here in our hometown, we got a kid from Emotep, Gordon, Gordon Thomas. Gordon went in there, got a pancake right off the bat. You know, Jalen Thomas showed some real promise, did some really nice things. You know, Mac did some nice things. They went down. We moved the football, right? We protected the passer. We had Frankie goes in there and throws a dig down the middle of the field, so that was nice to see. It was just a nice team effort to see those young guys go out and execute and play, and not just the guys up front. We're talking globally as an offense. We had guys playing, and then they were just executing at a really high level.
How valuable is that experience in-game for those younger guys? Because eventually they're going to be your starters for this team down the road.
Well, I think it's critical because all of a sudden they play in games and realize, hey, all this stuff matters. All the things that happen in practice matter. All the things we talk about taking care of your body matters. You know, all those things add up, and it switches a light bulb on in a way that a coach can't always do.
When Aaron Ruff came in here, there was a lot of high expectations with his background being a 4-star recruit and the exceptional player that he was in high school. Where's Aaron Ruff at as a developmental process right now?
You know, Aaron has done a great job changing his body. He is working hard. He's working hard in the weight room, and he's right in the middle of things. He's fighting every day to get his shot.
When you have a young lineman, let's say a lineman comes in, just finished up his senior year, picks Temple University, you guys recruit him, you get him in here. Well, how do you make him buy into the system? What are things that he needs to do, and what are some things that you guys preach for him to buy into that system early on?
Well, I don't know. You know, we present who we are very openly when we recruit, and so there's nothing that all of a sudden flashes across our face when they arrive here in the summer. And our process, very simply, starts in the weight room. I'll be quite honest with you, because we're going to be the toughest team in America, and we don't shy away from that. And it starts with our strength staff. Progresses through the summer. And to be honest with you, it's our attention to detail academically in the summer. These kids in summer school, going to class and going to study hall and doing all the things, demanding that they execute at a high level, not just on the football field but in life. And I think that you talk about there's nowhere to hide. There's no choice but to do the right thing.
Wrapping up with Chris Wiesehan, the offensive line coach for your Temple Owls on the official Temple University Football Coaches Show, powered by Peerless Boilers. Peerless builds America's best boilers. Coach, you have UCF this Saturday. A lot of expectations are high here for your Temple football team. They're undefeated on the year, and fans expect another victory up against UCF, who doesn't have a win on the season, coached by George O'Leary, who you obviously have a lot of respect for him. But what kind of challenge does UCF present your offensive line this Saturday night?
They're a physical team. They're a physical team. They're a tough team. But most importantly, in the way we approach this game, it's really about us. It's about our execution, our toughness, our want-to attitude. So, whether we're playing, a school down the road or the New York Giants down the road, it's really about us. And we completely have great respect for that program and their process of being a tough program. They're physical. And we're looking to match force with force.
How do you have your guys focus one game at a time? Because it would be easy to overlook a team that doesn't have a win on the year and start getting ready and looking towards that ECU game, Coach.
Well, we don't have that mindset. I mean, quite simply, we're a day-to-day. And what I mean, if you want to win the week, you have to win the day. And you have to stack days, and it's got to be a process. You want to be good at bench press, you better bench press when you're supposed to bench press. You better lift when you're supposed to lift. I always laugh at, I want to be good at ping pong. Play ping pong. Well, if you want to get at football, play football. And if you want to really be focused on the most important game, and that's the next game. And as a program, we just focus on being 1-0 once a week. Period.
There's a great John Elway story. Byron Chamberlain, who played for the Broncos and won Super Bowls with them as a tight end. He told me John Elway was the most competitive guy he ever met, And John Elway once lost a game of ping pong, actually. It's funny you mentioned ping pong. He lost it to a backup quarterback on the team. And the next day, that ping pong set was thrown out of his house. So how about that, Coach?
He's an intense guy. That's why he's where he is.
How about this crowd? Final one with you. The crowd has been unbelievable so far. The band and the students, everyone with the Cherry Crusade. You guys got some good support out there the last few games.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the 12th man. And what people have to, or will grow to understand or continue to understand, is that when they're like that, it makes it a very hard place to play. It puts a lot of pressure on the other team, and we just love it. We get energized by it. So it's an X factor is what it is.
Coach Wiesehan, best of luck on Saturday. We appreciate a few minutes. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.